As of tonight, the United States has 800 military bases overseas. And this evening, we begin a 5-part series, a look at what our American men and women are doing on the front lines of battle. We begin tonight in Afghanistan, where the head of the Joint Chiefs arrived a bit earlier today, working on plans that may add several thousand more U.S. troops in that battle. Our national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin reports tonight from the Pentagon.
When the U.S. and its NATO allies invaded Afghanistan after 9/11, the war was supposed to be lightning fast, led by U.S. Special Forces and Marine units hoping to kill bin Laden and overthrow the Taliban, who had given al-Qaeda a safe haven from which to attack the United States. 16 years later, with no end in sight, the Pentagon, and now a third U.S. president, is planning to send more troops to Afghanistan after President Obama failed to end what has now surpassed Vietnam as America's longest war. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Joe Dunford, landed in Kabul this morning to assess whether to commit up to 5,000 more troops in the coming months. The head of the Marine Corps, General Robert Neller, visited Helmand Province to make his assessment last week. U.S. Marines pulled out of Helmand in 2014. The U.S. currently has 8,400 troops serving in Afghanistan, a far cry from the 100,000 at its height in 2009, when President Obama was convinced by his military commanders to surge 30,000 more forces into what had been dubbed the Forgotten War, after resources and attention had been diverted to Iraq. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis offered this frank assessment of the war in recent testimony on Capitol Hill.
We're not winning in Afghanistan right now, and we will correct this as soon as possible.
Mattis said he will present a new plan for Afghanistan and the region in mid-July. His predecessor had the following warning.
You have to worry about this safe haven in Pakistan, in which terrorists go back and forth across the border at will and are able to attack in Afghanistan and then retreat back to Pakistan. That has to end. That has to be stopped.
In February, the top U.S. commander in Afghanistan told Congress he needed a few thousand more troops after then-President Obama ordered roughly 1,500 U.S. troops out of Afghanistan at the end of December in an effort to end the war.
We skipped the step where you're supposed to be able to have a few dozen teams of advisors out in the field with key Afghan units to help them improve, to call in airstrikes and so forth. And so in a sense, what I see this decision by President Trump as potentially doing is repairing one of the holes in the Obama strategy.
Officials say the new strategy in Afghanistan will look like the current fight against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. More troops closer to the fight to call in airstrikes and embed them with local fighters. But this new plan carries risk. Earlier this month, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed by an Afghan soldier in what the military calls an insider attack. 7 other American soldiers were shot and wounded in a similar incident a week later. More than 2,300 American troops have been killed in Afghanistan, 17,000 wounded.
After multiple strategy reviews, there are still issues that after years of war have not been addressed. For instance, what to do about the ongoing threat from Afghan troops who have turned their weapons on American troops with alarming regularity.
Well,
Bill?
As we introduced your piece a moment ago, we reported the U.S. now has 800 military bases overseas. You hear that number, it sounds surprising, no doubt, Jennifer.
Absolutely, Bill. I've been here for 10 years covering the Pentagon beat, and even I was surprised to hear that the U.S. military has 800 bases, military bases overseas. The Marines are about to set up another base back in Helmand Province, where they left just 3 years ago. I talked to one service member who has served multiple tours in Afghanistan, and he said that it's not just that they keep moving the goalposts on us. They've removed the goalposts and given us the ball and told us to keep running. And that's how many feel in terms of this return to Afghanistan of these thousands of troops who might be deployed in the coming months.
16 years on. Jennifer Griffin, thank you, reporting from the Pentagon.